Hey yo guys, how is it going? Tally here, Jamie here, and Jamie, as per usual, I'm totally living vicariously through this man right now. As per usual, has done fairly well in a tournament. How did you do?
Came 5th at the 96-person regional.
Well, you know, that's okay numbers. That number 5th gets him this beautiful Healthy Masquerena map. So what deck were you playing?
So I was playing Go Second Thunder.
Go Second Thunder, okay. Just without any further ado, my man, fire right in and tell us all about it.
Sure. So the main strategy with this deck is you're going to go second, if you couldn't tell, and try and break the biggest boards of the format. So there is a weakness to control, so you'll see in the side deck there's a huge amount of sort of control focus in the siding. I'll go over that in a wee minute. But this deck is designed to just give you the win against combo, and also very strong plays against things like Sky Strike and so on. So 3 Thunder Dragon,
Yep.
3 Dark, 3 Roar, 3 Hot, usual mixed rarity trend, 3 Matrix, there's also 1 Super in there somewhere, and 2 Duo. I went for 2 Duo because there was a lot of times when a lot of floodgates might go up, or just a lot of negation was going up and I actually couldn't get a Thunder on board, and just coming in pinch with this was very effective. And I often really enjoyed having to saw it in my hand just enough for it to get me the results I wanted. So I then went for 3 Aloof Lupine and 2 Batteryman Solar. The reason it's 3 and 2, where sometimes you might see Batteryman at 3, is because it's going second. You really want impact. You know, you're most of the time you're actually going to go for an OTK, but you want to make sure you have enough resources that you sit comfortably. There's obviously going to be a lot of decks that will set up just enough stopping power. So these sort of come in handy. 2 is right for this. You can still search out through things like Fusion, but 3 and 2 was correct. They came up enough that I saw them when I wanted to, but they didn't break my hands at all. So then sort of some of the going second package. Of course, 3 Nibiru. I actually think I only resolved this once or twice today, not as much as I would have thought. There was a lot of the decks I was going up against just seemed to make a little bit less. This came up when I needed it to, but it was actually more often than not the sides that came up for like the pinch. 3 Phantasme. This is a card I used to sort of rip on. Obviously I've been playing it and everything recently, and today was the day that sort of cemented this as being a really good card for me. Old news to everyone, but particularly my Sky Striker matchups, because of Widow Anchor being at 1, if you set up Colossus and 1 Phantasme, that's pretty much game, set and match. Everyone I went up against today was playing Sky Striker. If Colossus and Phantasme went down, normally that was a scoop. So that came in really well. 3 Allure of Darkness, obviously best drawing in the decks, just nothing but plus. Big fan. 3 Super Poly. This was the one putting the work in today. I resolved this against decks that I probably shouldn't have, including Sky Striker when I got Widow Anchored and things like that, where I was fusioning away my own board and then stripping them of resources to play through. 2 Fusion. Again, 2 is correct, going second, you don't want it to see it too often. You can recur off Roar and things like that, and just searching anything back for me is really good. 2 Cyclone. This came up a lot against anyone playing Mystic Mine in their side deck or main deck, like Draco Sky Strikers. There was a lot of really tough matchups that Cyclone really helped me win because. 1 Gold Sark speaks for itself, get any resource, and 1 Upstart Goblin, because with the Phantasmes, this essentially turns your deck into a 36 card deck. So that's it. There's no desires or anything in this. I was playing them up until recently, but they were cut because I just wanted more, again, impactful cards. I wanted cards that were live in my hand with things like Phantasme, so going into my Nibirus and so on, and setting me up for a turn. Desires, I just felt, was actually putting me in a bad position. I was losing a lot of my resources and losing a lot of top deck power. If I was in the mid game, if I was on turn 4, 5, 6, 7 plus, same as when I built the Cyber Dragon deck, the cards I drew, I wanted them to be, play them and just go off and win. And cutting desires, I think was a big part of that. So that's 40 cards. We'll go over the side deck strategy in a second once we show next deck. So 1 Linkaribo, good for your Matrix. Some Summoner. I cut Wee Witch and just ran the 1 Lambda because I wanted to make room for another Super Poly target. This was good, especially if you were mind controlling anything away. 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, 1 BLS. This was just a really good finisher. This card came up in a lot of times when you're bored. Really just needed to be sort of condensed. Excuse me. So this came in and it was very good for just putting pressure on a board and stripping away vital resources with a banish and things like that. 1 Barload, 1 Appaloosa. This came up today about as much as I wanted it to. It was very rarely the focus of a play, but if I was in turn 3 or 4, and I would be a bit afraid, like I'd broken the board and I was a bit scared of a Nibiru sort of play. Potentially against like a control deck and they didn't play him up, I was like, well, Nibiru there. So this was mostly coming up for dealing with that scenario. I went for 3 Colossus and only 2 Titan. I never ever found myself wanting to play the 3rd Titan. It literally didn't come up once. I found the ratio to be very smooth for me. You would recur them enough off fusion anyway. 2 Titan felt good for me. And then 1 Starling and 1 Violet Chimera. This didn't come up today because for some reason I didn't see Salad once. I didn't see Orcust once. So those are the 2 decks that I was arguably the most prepared for seeing, and I didn't see a single one.
I know that feel.
So for side deck, 1 Denko Sekka, searchable and summonable off some summon summoner. My favourite card of the side deck, Dimensional Shifter. This card won me so many games, especially against things like Sky Striker. Just at the start of the main phase, you drop this, and it's a skip a turn really, because they're not going to want to lose everything. You know, they're not going to want to lose their raise and engage and just banish it all. This won games. That was skip a turn for most decks. 1 Artifact Engine. I almost never went first today, even against like other control decks. And the one time I did side in this engine, I only drew a scythe and I popped it myself. 3 evenly matched, 3 red reboot, and 2 mind control. As I said, there's a lot of focus here for dealing with control-based decks and so on. So you got, arguably 9 of these spots, potentially 11 depending on the matchup, were purely just for dealing with a control matchup. So a lot of the siding strategy today, so most of my matchups today, I went up against Sky Striker a couple of times, Draco Sky Striker, I went up against a new Starlish combo, Maya Caches, and Cubic as well at the start of the round, which actually gave me a surprising bit of fear. But obviously siding is an important strategy for this and you needed to know it. So it goes without saying, a lot of the time, if you're going against Guru, there's a very neat ratio for this. So when you're siding against Guru, whether you're going first or second, you're normally going to rent all these cards out anyway. So you'll typically take out those.
So Nibirus, Phantasmas, yeah. They're not summoning, they're not linking, makes sense.
And your 3 Super Poly.
Yep.
And then in their place, 2 mind control, because you could take their Guru, so they weren't going to flip it away or anything like Final Battle. This just meant you could play without them. A lot of the time they would search Final Battle, then flip their Guru and search the Fiendess. If you just took it away with mind control, this solved a lot of those issues. 3 red reboot, 3 evenly matched, and the 1 Denko Sekka. So that was this was sort of what you would really sort of side for your Guru matchup. Goes without saying, these are just win more cards against that deck. If you were going up against something like Sky Striker, instead of the 2 mind control, you would want the 2 Dimension Shifter. Like I said, it's skip a turn. So that goes fairly without saying too much. Now, obviously this deck is designed to be a board-breaking Go Second Thunder variant. So there's actually not a lot of siding options if you're going up against things like Salamangreats. This deck is designed to take it on with things like Chimera and your Super Polys and Nibiru and so on. It's just win mode against those decks. But if you are going first and you want just that extra stopping power, and you're putting in this engine, sometimes what you might want to do is cut something like Phantasma, just because it's less reactory than a Nibiru can be. But typically, if you wanted to sort of thin anything out, a lot of the time I would cut things like these, and then one Phantasme or one Nibiru, because you know, with things like a lure, you can draw into these and then have them for your opponent's turn if you've gone first. But you know, say typically you go with that, you put in your artifact engine, you've still got your allures, you're still going to draw into them, and this is just further disruption. But because the consistency of this deck is tailored around going second, it can, excuse me, it can be a bit more bricky if you go first. So you still want to make sure that you've still got your Nibirus and Phantasmes in for dealing with that.
Fair enough, man. Very in depth. I absolutely love your insight on whatever deck you play. So guys, as always, if you like to give a like, if you loved it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. As always, just got to remind you, this man Paul is in Team Tally. I hope you are too. And if you're not, hit that subscribe button down below right there. But as always, you have been amazing. I've been Tally. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.